We are on.
This is James Kotecki reporting for the Annette Strauss Institute.
Great.
America, if you don't know about the Annette Strauss Institute, you are missing out on one of the key institutions for developing political leadership in young people. I love it, and if you find out about it, you'll love it too.
Perfect pitch. James, why don't you tell us about your first time voting?
Wow, my first time voting. Well, I sent in my absentee ballot from Georgetown University for the 2004 presidential campaign. And it didn't have the same like new voter feel, like that kind of warm fuzzy feeling you get from voting because it was just over the mail. But then, more recently, I got to vote in the 2008 presidential campaign. I still voted like absentee, but I got to go to a physical place and do it. I got to like touch buttons. That is the key to voter satisfaction in this country. If you can touch a button and then you see that you voted, it's cool. I actually did leave, and I recently voted for the Virginia governor's race too. I left those places feeling a little bit happy just because I voted, you know, it's cool.
Do you have memories from going with your parents voting as a kid?
Fond memories, yeah. And then, no, sorry, I was going to say something really inappropriate. We're going to edit this, right? Yes, you know, we would go to the voting place together, my mother and father and I would watch them exercise their democratic right to free choice in their elected leaders. And I would feel a welling of pride in America, in the great state of North Carolina, which is where they voted, and in our founding fathers.
What was your first...
I didn't really have any memories of voting. I just made that up. We went to the thing, they pulled the lever, I don't know.
What was your first political job?
Oh, wait, can I back up for a second?
Yes, you can.
I did have a memory of voting in elementary school. When we voted, we like filled out the ballot for who we wanted for president. And then you had like pictures of the candidates' faces next to the candidates because, you know, little kids have no idea. I don't really know what the point of making like fifth graders vote for president was because they probably don't make their own minds up very well. They probably just voted for whoever their parents wanted to. But that was a good experience.
I think that polls, like U.S. News and World Report or something, they do it every election.
Yeah.
And I actually think the fifth graders get it right, like almost all the time.
Kids vote! Yeah, kids vote. It's a great puff piece before Election Day, if you're interested, reporters out there. If there are any reporters left. If they haven't all been fired by the time this video airs.
It's going to be one shaky camera. So tell us about your first job in politics.
My first job in politics, I worked for a guy who was running for city council, and I kind of went around with him knocking on people's doors and saying, would you support my friend who's running for city council? And I think I just wanted to work on a campaign, so it was fun. Like the first house, I was incredibly nervous, but most people actually did not mind talking to me about kind of a political campaign or political race, which was cool. Once you get over the first house, I call it the first house jitters. Once you get those jitters out, you are golden. You can campaign for anyone in America. And you should. At the Annette Strauss Institute.
What piece of advice do you have for young adults who are interested in getting involved in politics?
If you are an elected member of the Texas State House or Senate, watch out for the rattlesnakes. They will drop rattlesnakes in this pit, and the legislators will fight to the death with these rattlesnakes every opening session. So I would avoid that, or at least stand in the back and let the kind of slower members be eaten by the rattlesnakes. Other than that, my advice is, I think, as I said in my speech today, just try a bunch of stuff and see what works, because the future is so uncertain and changing so rapidly, it's very difficult to give anyone kind of career advice in terms of bullet points. My main career advice is just try stuff, see what works. If it works and it resonates with you, go with it. And that's probably the most legitimate thing I've said in this entire video.
That's great. What's your favorite political book?
My favorite political book? I liked Hardball, actually. The show, I don't know if the show really captures the book. The show is a lot of shouting, but the book is actually cool, like behind the scenes, like insidery, like social tactics for political climbers. So if you're into that kind of Karl Rove, Chris Matthews, Machiavellian stuff, it's definitely the book for you.
What book are you reading now?
On the plane over here, I read a Stephen King book, but I'm also reading Malcolm Gladwell's collection of essays from The New Yorker over like the last 10 years called What the Dog Saw, which is really just an excuse for him to take stuff he's already done and make more money off of it. But, I like it. I like Malcolm Gladwell. It's kind of that counterintuitive-y, like the tipping point kind of stuff. I'm into all that stuff.
I think we're done.
I think we